Guys, it is my favorite time of year. Seriously. I am one of those people that starts counting down to Christmas in like January. I start watching Christmas movies in August, and my Christmas tree goes up the first week of November. I love the music, I love the decorations, and I love the spirit of the season. I also love the significance of Christmas as we celebrate Christ's birth, and that overall, people tend to feel it in their soul and demonstrate a little bit more kindness and generosity toward others. Let me just say, Hollywood decides to target Christmas with corruption and mockery, as they do with everything that is good and wholesome. It makes me a little bit upset, not gonna lie. Let's get into it. Welcome to my channel, Outspoken Samantha. I appreciate you being here, whether this is the first time you have clicked on one of my videos or you are a returning supporter. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, help me reach my 10,000 subscriber goal by Christmas by hitting the subscribe button, and turn on your notifications so that you never miss out on a conversation like the one we're about to have. So if you've been paying any sort of attention over the last couple of years, you may have noticed a particularly disturbing trend. Well, there have been several disturbing trends over the last few years, like drag queens reading stories to children, secret sexuality clubs in schools, a massive surge in teachers developing inappropriate relationships with their students and having it hidden by the school administration, governors enacting laws that say if your kid is struggling with their mental health and they cross into their state and ask to surgically mutilate their bodies, they can do so without the approval or consent of their parents, and parades of naked adults performing sexual activities in public in front of children. So with all of that, it goes hand in hand with the normalization of satanic symbolism and even celebration of the most well-known figure of evil in history, making it seem like associating with the devil is fun and cool and totally harmless. We all remember the Target debacle of 2023, where they decided to partner with an LGBTQ activist who designs pins with Baphomet on them, making them in bright colors and fun shapes so as to target their appeal toward kids and teens. There's been the exposure of secret Satan clubs in school, and we can't forget about the Balenciaga situation, where toddlers carried teddy bears dressed in bondage gear, surrounded by satanic symbols and writings. This has been going on for a while, so I guess they felt that the natural progression of things was to make a Christmas movie of a kid hanging out with Satan himself and having a good time. I'm sure you guys have heard by now, there's a new movie called Dear Santa, and it stars Jack Black. The movie focuses on a kid named Liam who apparently has dyslexia, and as he's writing his letter to Santa, he instead writes Satan on the envelope and summons the devil instead. Satan shows up in the boy's room and says he can have 3 wishes, after which the devil is going to take his soul. So the pair start to hang out and the antics start, making it look like it's fun to hang out with Satan. Throughout their time together, Satan tells Liam, "Let me show you what I can do for you." He takes him gambling, showers him in money, introduces him to Post Malone, which is to entice him with fame and prestige. Now, I know that there are other issues that this movie addresses. I believe that there is a loss in the family and they are all in therapy together to cope with it, but you can't really get that from the trailer. But in one scene, you can see Satan standing on a fiery pentagram, declaring in frustration that he doesn't know what to do. The kid is incorruptible. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of people in the comments who are just like, it's just a movie, lighten up, don't be judgy, or whatever. And you're welcome to that opinion, and you can take your innocent child to see the Satan movie. For me, this is wildly offensive, especially considering the stark contrast to what, at its core, Christmas is really about. We're talking about the birth of our Savior, Jesus Christ, and Hollywood has taken one of the most religiously sacred holidays of the year and tied it to the opposite of Jesus Christ. It falls in line with the not so subtle objective of Hollywood and of so many people in power today to turn kids away from what is good and right and indicate that it's harmless to accept even the most depraved and vile ideas or figures as long as it makes you happy in the moment. The idea of this portrayal is that hanging out with Satan is harmless and even fun. And while Satan says that this kid is incorruptible, which is perhaps supposed to give us the idea that you can dabble in evil and it will have no effect on you, the darkness of the message remains. Evil is fun. It's the same as gravitating towards things that are good and positive. You'll have the same outcome. So either choice is perfectly okay. And honestly, this choice over here with the devil, with the fun, with the money, and with the games, it's going to be way more of a good time. Personally, would never see this movie. By contrast, there is another movie out right now that I'm actually planning on taking my family to see, and it's called The Best Christmas Pageant ever. Just to get an idea of what this movie is about, according to this article, it says, just released is the best Christmas pageant ever, and it's funny and charming. It's about a church in a small town that yearly puts on a pageant, which the longtime director insists on keeping unchanged in almost every detail, save the kids cast to play Mary, Joseph, and the shepherds. It's also about a mysterious family named the Herdmans, 6 very badly behaved kids, Imogen, Ralph, Claude, Leroy, Ollie, and Gladys, whom everyone in town, it seems, either reviles or fears. The 1972 book upon which the movie is based, by the late Barbara Robinson, was retitled in the United Kingdom as The Worst Kids in the World, and that seems about right, but egads, the Herdmans are cast in the pageant's major roles. In book and film, it's noted that whereas in previous pageants, parents were excited and even competed to have their newborn play the role of baby Jesus, when the Herdmans are cast, which they accomplish by terrorizing the other kids, the director, Grace Bradley, played by Judy Greer, must recruit a vital baby doll. That's how bad these Herdman kids are. The leader of the Herdman's pack is the older sister and oldest sibling, Imogen, who is especially mean to Mrs. Bradley's daughter, Beth. But it's Beth who coaxes Imogen and her brothers and sister to return to the pageant after promised snacks did not materialize and perform as they ought in the story of poor people who are witnesses to a miracle. Genius of the best Christmas pageant ever, book and film, is that even the Herdmans surrender to faith and community through the power of the story of the birth of the Savior. These raucous and disagreeable kids are transformed by Jesus Christ, just as billions before them have been. So in contrast to the first movie that we talked about, we have a story of the very opposite that really seems to encapsulate what Christmas is about, which is that Christ's birth was for everyone, and understanding his existence leads people to accept those around them and help them understand that showing love towards others is what changes hearts and minds for the better for ourselves and for our communities. The film was done by Dallas Jenkins, who was also the producer of the series The Chosen. So if it's his project, we know that it's going to have the kind of moral foundation that allows us to take our kids to a movie without worrying about hidden messages and agendas. I find it fascinating that these two movies are out at the same time, because they do fall in such stark contrast to each other. Two very different messages about not only Christmas, but say a lot about where we are as a society in general. The ratings on both of these films give me a little bit of hope that we're not as lost as it seems like we are most of the time. Dear Santa has a 24% audience approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. The best Christmas pageant ever has a 91% approval rating. So there we go. But I would love to hear all of your thoughts on this in the comments below. Again, please be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Make sure that you are subscribed. Keep it real, guys, and I will see you in the next one.